more for that.
Great. So Casey, Matthew, great to meet you guys. Great to be here talking about this today, trying to figure out how we can help Schema as we move forward and getting them set up to enroll students as quickly as possible and then help maintain the system as they move forward. Matthew, what I heard on Friday's phone call, and I think I'm confirming this. I believe this is what I heard, and I want to make sure this works for Schema, is there was a conversation around long-term not really being able to have a for-profit institution run in the same environment or database or installation, if you will, with a not-for-profit. And then there was a discussion around, hey, this is not the long-term plan. This is just a short-term plan to do that. So there was a question on, are we okay to use the environment that you have today, the installation you have today, to just set up a new campus and set up all the Schema programs and courses in it and keep FIDM as it is until we teach it out? Or is there going to be a requirement to truly do another installation, another implementation? I am operating under the assumption that we can just set up another campus within the FIDM environment, and ultimately that all converts over to Schema. Do you believe that to be true, Matthew?
Yes, I do at this point. Now it's been a couple of days since the meeting on Friday, and we have checked around, and it seems that because with our temporary pre-approval, we will still be operating as a for-profit, because until they give us a final approval, which is going to be maybe a year out. I may say they, I mean the Department of Ed. We won't be nonprofit yet, so it should be fine to use the same database in the short term. And as I think Vivian pointed out, honestly, we don't know enough about Schema's long-term plans to know if we'll ultimately be converting to a new version of Anthology that will be, distinct and just for the nonprofit, or if we'll, convert into the system that they're using. We don't really know. So yeah, I think a campus makes sense.
Okay. And
no, Chris, I'm hoping that this would work, but two things. One, I've got to talk to Schema about this, because they're the one that's going to make this decision if this is okay. And the other is the regulatory attorney. So
thank you very much for that.
Yeah, and Angela, who's the CFO at FIDM, because FIDM is not going to exist as an organization after. I mean, it is on paper, but not. So it's kind of hard to have FIDM as a campus on that. I got to make sure that there's no issues, legal issues on that, or financial responsibility. So I'm going to get these questions answered fairly quickly. I'll work with Matt. Matt and I work really well together.
Yeah, that's a great point though, Casey. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll try to get you guys an answer pretty quickly on that, because I would love it if we could do this, but we'll see.
Yeah. It's going to make a difference in your timing for sure.
Oh yeah.
And Casey, you kind of set me up perfectly there. What I was going to say is give you my famous disclaimer. I am not a regulatory expert. You kind of heard Amy say my experiences, I've seen this with other clients. I know what they've gone through, but this is not what I get paid to do. So please work with that regulatory consultant. They'll guide you, make sure we're doing all the right things, and we'll help you execute. But they'll help you form up that strategy. Okay. So for the purpose of this conversation, I'm going to assume and that we can move forward using what you guys already have set up, and we can just create another campus. Okay. One of my questions, Matthew, is we talked, I know I've got it in my notes here, so if my language isn't perfectly on, please forgive me. I hope you'll know what I'm speaking to. But I think when we met and we were talking in July at conference, we were talking about converting program versions. I think we were talking about going to semester. Is that what and that was one of the things that we needed to do. Is that a secondary consideration right now? Is the first priority, the most important thing that we're focused on, is the future programs that you've designed for 2024, and you sent me a list of them. Is that our primary focus the first thing that needs to get done, and that's our driver.
Yeah, I think so. No, I see, we are moving to a semester calendar. And so all these enrollments that we want to initiate as soon as January if possible, they need to be in a semester-based enrollment. And going back to one of the original rationales for looking at managed services, we didn't know what we didn't know about configuring program versions. And so what we know now, especially now that we're becoming a different kind of college altogether, is that we have to utilize all of the full gamut of the functionality in Anthology, as far as setting up the abilities to have catalogs at play, requirements, rules, areas of study, majors and minors, and so we needed to have our program versions, whatever they were going to look like, redesigned and configured so that they operate, in the way that Anthology is going to be going in the future, for one thing. And so, it seems that we have to have those in place before we can enroll students, because they're going to be enrolled into a program version.
Yeah.
So,
and I think I'm answering my own question here. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing something, right? Because you're right. If we were doing that, for everything future, I'm going to go schema. For everything behind us, I'm going to say FITM. But we were talking about doing that for FITM. But the current plan is just what we have on FITM, just teach that out. And then we're re-enrolling them in the semester-based programs that'll be in the new campus for schema. So we do not need to worry about anything except just wrapping up what's in the FITM campus. Everything we're talking about today, all the new programs, all the work that we're doing is all a plan for the schema campus.
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. I just needed to confirm that. Okay. Now, we have helped other clients that are part of our application administration service offering that have needed to set up another campus. We've needed to do all the configuration. We needed to set up all the programs and all the billing and all the pieces that go along with it. So that is something that we're helping and have done with other clients. I will tell you, though, that there's two concerns I have around this. Is one, the length of time it takes to do that, and two, how quickly, I'm going to use the word I in this case, it really is Diana, from our managed services team, how quickly can we actually assign a resource or resources to do this? And both of those are things that I have concerns around. I think the absolute best case is you're going to need somewhere from 4 to 6 weeks to get this set up. I think the realistic time frame is 3 months. I think as I've worked with clients and I've seen other things going on now, you guys have a little different solution, a little different situation. It's like, we got to hammer this through. We got to get this done right away because of the acquisition, because of the changes. But any way I look at that, if I talk about 6 weeks, if I talk about 3 months, both of those are dangerous for a March timeframe. And then I'm going to add the other piece to it, which is why I'm suggesting and talking about some kind of a hybrid solution where we bring multiple pieces of Anthology together. And Cheryl, this is where you and I would need to work on this and work with Amy and Diana, is, my team is typically not running a big bench. We're assigning resources to new clients that are working for them for the next year, I'm sorry. And we have a need here to get someone assigned very, very quickly and get a lot of work done very, very quickly. We may want to consider, and I've got two ideas in my mind, where one, maybe we have the professional services team, our consultants come in and do a quick assessment, a strategy, a design. This is everything that's going to get set up. This is how it's going to get set up. And they can either then execute that and do it quickly. So you've got a project on the front end of this, Matthew, that's doing all your setup. And then it's up to you guys to decide if you want to work with my team to maintain it and add to it and continue optimizing as the year goes on. That's option number one. Option number two is we could have them come in, especially if they have resources that could do this quickly, do that assessment, do that review, do that design. And then that buys a little bit of time for me to come up with some resources. And we assign the resources from my team for a year-long contract. And the first thing we do is start setting this up. My fear though is I don't know if I can get you guys to March. I don't know that my team, my resources are going to have assignment and engagement to have you guys ready to be enrolling for March.
Yeah, another thing too, Chris, is it's kind of going to be a hybrid school. The teach out is only for the design students. So technically, there's business students and there's design students. They're all really schema students. There will be no FITM student. Yeah, I mean, we could still use the system and do the split campus.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's going to be really interesting because it's still going to be a quarter system, but for the winter and the spring quarters, the business students are going to be dealt with by schema, and the design students, they're going to have a FITM degree, but all the employees, the teachers, the staff, people like Matt, they're all going to be schema employees. So it's kind of like two sides to it. So
yeah,
I'm not
I
sure
see
how that impacts the campus part. But
yeah, I mean, and then I guess the next piece of that is the courses. I'll let you jump in here, Diane, in a second. Feel free to interrupt me. The courses that you've shared, the programs that you've shared with me, are those all of them, Matthew, or that's just the first batch that we need to get set up right away?
Well, that is the first batch that we need to get set up right away. Yeah.
Okay. Because that'll help you guys also think about when we talk about options and different things and the way we can kind of combine our different teams at Anthology. If this is just an upfront, we need to get a bunch of work done. You don't want to work with me. It's just going to cost you extra money to do a year-long contract. But if we're going to be doing more programs, more courses, more efficiencies, Matthew, that are in your notes, which we help clients with all the time, then there's more of a need for that long term. So what I can do, Casey, I think you said cost, right? You're trying to figure out how much all this stuff costs. I can help you.
Yeah, because I got to run that by schema. Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell you what the costs are around my services right away. For the hybrid where we bring in Amy's team. I don't think you were on that call, Casey. Were you with Amy on Friday? Okay. No. Where we bring in Amy's team, we'll have to put it. I don't know that I can give you those numbers right away, but Cheryl can help us get those. So what I'm going to suggest here, Matthew, Casey, is I can give you a timeline that says I can get you guys all set up in 3 months. Okay. I can tell you that all this is going to be done. It is possible to go faster. I've seen it go faster, but I'm going to tell you 3 months because I don't want to set expectations we can't deliver. I don't want to tell you something that we're not going to hit. I'd rather you get all the bad news today, and then let's get better from there. We could do this. So the way we allocate resources, Casey, it's anywhere from half-time to full-time. And from a cost standpoint, I would probably tell you to go with a half-time resource because I think we can get the same amount of work done. But there is a little bit of investment from the schema team, from your resources. We could go a full-time, more resources on the front end, but I don't think it's going to speed us up all that much. It might move you down from 3 months to 2 months because there's still time, there's still investment, there's still interaction with the schema team, with your team. The other thing I would ask you, Matthew, is are you guys using the web client today? Because I would not do this anywhere other than the web client. So that's going to require training as well.
Yeah, we're in the web client.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Go ahead,
Chris,
Cheryl.
can you clarify a couple things? Are you saying 3 months your team can get this done, or just use Anthology with a mixture of people?
I'm saying 3 months we could do this. And the biggest concern with that is how quickly I can start. So what I was also saying, and part of that time is we've got to go through and create the plan and strategy and all that kind of work. So if we could get Amy's team, sorry, Casey, Matt, Carlos, I'm talking, looking straight at Cheryl, but if we could get Amy's team to get in there sooner, faster, and do the design, if you will, that one lets us get started faster, but I've still got to come up with resources. And I honestly think if Amy can provide resources faster, that's better for Schema. I would not wait for me. I would go as fast as we possibly can. Recognize that I do 1-year contracts, Casey, Matthew, Carlos. So it's a little bit better on pricing, but I would not worry about that right now. I'd get to a place you can enroll students as fast as you can. And if that means we pull the pay by the hour resources to get it done faster, that's what I would do if I was you.
Thanks, Chris. And I need to ping Amy and see what their timeline is like for something like this.
Yeah, I can send you, again, I want to give you information, right? Not just problems. I can send you or tell you right now verbally as well, kind of the pricing around the services that and how we would do this through my team. That way you have that information. And then if we want to compare and contrast that to pull in a little bit of Amy's time up front and getting us going, that's how I would look at this. Diana, did you have a comment here?
No, I've just kind of been following around. I know I put a note in there with Matthew agreed. It's basically planning around discovery, configuration, testing, and user acceptance. And then I noticed that Casey mentioned quarters. Is all the programs credit hours? Or do you have clock hours as well?
No, they're credit hours. No.
Perfect, even better. Yes, I've been out, so I've been trying to catch up with the emails and all this stuff. So I'm sorry if some of this stuff is things you guys answered already. But for planning, this helped me.
Let me summarize just a little bit, just because I'm watching the time here. Best case scenario, we'll get this done in 1 month. Okay. Worst case scenario, and this is what I've seen with other clients, this is how I've seen it go, it could be 3 months. Okay. So I want to keep that in mind. I don't want to promise something that we're not going to deliver. I'm telling you 2 different scenarios that I've seen through work with different clients. The biggest challenge, in addition to how long it takes to do the work, is how quickly we will assign resources. I could not tell you today that I can assign a resource January 1st. I do not have that capability. So now if we're talking about February 1st, oh my gosh, we just lost a month. So that's why I'm suggesting we talk to Amy, we talk to that team, we see what options there are there, because if there's something faster, we absolutely want to go down that path. So
Chris, if we, since you can't decide a resource in January, and like you said, we need to not lose that month. Now, am I right that Amy's team, would that be called professional services, Cheryl? Is that what that is?
I know. We
Yes.
Make it tough on our clients. I apologize for that. It's different delivery models, very similar services, very different delivery models.
Okay, except that your division has the really good reputation. You're the one I've been fighting for. And so professional services has a different reputation with some of my coworkers. Not that should be fair to Amy. It's not fair, I know, but that's just, there's a bias that some of us have had with some of that, which doesn't change the business situation that we're in, the need. And so, because what you're saying is you don't have someone available in January. So can you say when you might have someone available?
I will tell you right now, I've signed up 2 clients last week, and I told them both 60 to 90 days before we're able to start. I'm not giving them a hard date. We go as fast as we possibly can.
Okay.
And I'll be really direct with all of you on the phone how we're doing this. We have some contracts. So Casey and Carlos, I came to Anthology in May of 2014. We signed up our first client, brand new department. I was employee number 1. We signed up our first client in July of 2014. That client is still working with us because we've done good value. They like us. We have a good reputation. However, not every client renews every year. So 3 ways that we have employees freeing up. One is a client that didn't renew. A second one is we have transfers within Anthology. And a third one is I do hire from the outside, hire expertise, have worked at a school, have worked with our application. But those are the 3 ways. And I don't know which one of those 3 I would use to fill you, but I would go as fast as I possibly can to give you the absolute best resource to make sure this gets done. Right. And maybe multiple if we needed to. But that's how we lay out, and that's why I'm telling people 60 to 90 days. I mentioned to Diana this morning, I know one client that is up for renewal at the end of January. And for the last 3 years, they've been saying, man, budget's tight, but every year they renew. They may not, and that is an amazing resource that would free up, but I just don't know for sure if that's going to happen. So I'm sorry I'm not more direct with you, but that's the best information I can give you.
No, it's important. We've been as Casey's been guiding me and helping me to kind of deal with our group think, our anxiety over here about knowing that we need to get started on this, but this is actually going to be a schema expense, and so schema hasn't or we weren't able to say that we were schema yet. That's still actually in process right now. So this is just what it is. So it sounds like professional services is our only option, really. I'm not sure if you were giving a second option actually, because it's sounding like you're not sure when you'll have anybody available for
Yeah.
Anyway.
Matt, we've spent a lot of time together, and I feel like I'm letting you down right now. I don't think I expected this urgent of a need, but I want to find a way to get you the best answer as fast as I can. If I can help with that, I want to be a part of it. But if that's that's working through Amy's team, because this is business, it's got to get done right away. That'll be our first choice.
Yeah. But I'd say let's see what Casey's thinking. Casey, you have any thoughts?
Well, my big thought right now is I probably am going to get Natalie, who's the CFO of Schema, and Dominique, who's the head of their IT, on a phone call with everybody here.
Okay.
As soon as possible, so that they can really understand what's going on. And because I think that would be important. So I got to find out from them what their schedule is.
Okay. And this meeting will be recorded, so maybe we can get that to them too if they want.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah.
But Chris, I'm sorry, I joined late to the meeting. Do you have like a high level outline of what things need to be done or configure to get this quarter to semester, so we can kind of give a heads up to Schema what needs to be done?
Did you say? Oh, sorry. Did you say quarters to semester? Or are we saying quarters to quarters?
No, we're configuring the new school as a semester school. We're currently
Gotcha.
currently a quarter school.
Okay. So do you want to take it or you want me to answer?
Go ahead.
Okay, so some of the things we'll have to configure is the new campus locations. We need to, if you guys use Portal, we need to turn those on and do the configurations for them as well. We need to set up your users on the web with security, depending on what the need is there. Set up catalogs, program versions, billing that's tied to it, financial aid that's tied to it. Anything that it's only for new students. So the good thing is there's no students that we need to convert. So we'll set up the programs brand new. We don't have to worry about quarters to semester conversions. And then there's some admissions things that we'll need to configure as well. So I think you guys use Salesforce. Just how does that fit into the new programs, making sure that gets added there, and then also considering any other integrations that you guys may have and how that applies. But on a high level, that's the things that are on the top of my head.
Okay, so since I joined late, so it's the new schema is going to be a different location within our environment. Is that correct?
That's the idea.
We're operating with the assumption it'll be a new campus. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Casey's going to verify that that's that you guys are able to do that.
Is any hierarchy of level of locations? Like Fidon is the highest hierarchy, or LA is the highest? Is anything like within the software that identifies that?
No, there's no hierarchy really. It's just all the campus locations are just there alphabetically, I think it is. So there's no hierarchy. It's just whatever we assign that's new, we can lock that down. So it's only assigned to the new campus location and it doesn't tie into any of the other ones.
Okay, because if we say that we're going to create a new portal for the new campus location, then maybe since we're breaking it down, maybe we have the internal resources to do that. And that's what I'm saying. Maybe it's a combination between
Yeah,
your team and our team doing, like not hybrid,
But
but collaborating with each other.
Carlos, that's a great idea. Diane and I actually talked about that because I think, especially if we bring in Amy's team, I think a lot of times they don't put their hands on the keyboard quite as much as our team does, and maybe they can give all the direction and you've got some resources. That'll definitely accelerate if you've got
that's
the
great.
resources and availability and skill set, right? They have to have a little bit of background there to make sure we get it all set up right. But Amy's team, or even if we can get resources fast enough for mine, that does speed things up. Good idea, Carlos.
Yeah, just to make the budget less, I guess. When we
Yeah.
can kind of collaborate. Maybe before we meet with the schema, then we can maybe have that type of resources. Who's going to do what?
Matthew, who does all that for you today in your current environment? Is that you or is that other folks?
Who does what, Chris?
Basically manages your configuration, sets up. You said you guys have got the web client up and running. Who set up all your security? Who does all that?
Yeah, I'm one of the main people for financial aid, but we have about three or four folks here that were involved with implementation. Carlos is a big one. So we have Carlos and Vivian, and then Eileen, our registrar, and Susan Jenkins, our director of admissions operations. And
Okay.
That's a good segue into the last thing I was wanting to make sure that I restate, because I know I've shared it before, but one of the major functions for my argument to get managed services here was for us to, as a college, to obtain the vision and the training for what Anthology is doing with program versions. So, as quickly as we want to get this going, we were hoping to get some education and documentation, and possibly some kind of just partnering, really, because I can't speak for everybody, but some of the issues we've had that many years ago with managed services has been we give them requirements, and then we wait, and they didn't meet the requirements, and it's just one of those issues where it's sort of a black box. We don't know what they're doing. We don't know how they did it when they're finished. And that's what we didn't want, especially when it comes to program versions and doing things differently. Because, when I was at the conference, I didn't speak to anybody at Anthology who on any level, solution architects or anyone, including Diana, which may not remember meeting me, but everyone agreed unanimously that we set the program versions up incorrectly. That we did not take advantage of the product. So that's one of the things we want to definitely get. And if we can't get it because you're not available in January, then so be it. But that was a hope that we had.
Yeah, we could, like I said, let's figure out whatever's the fastest way to get you guys set up as fast as possible. And then we can have a more of your longer term plan that does that. Our delivery model, Matthew, it's not on accident that it's designed to help you with that. I mean, that before I came here, I was a partner, and that's what I heard from some of the clients. The whole delivery model we set up is to be a partner, work with you, teach you, optimize, find opportunities, make sure we've got you set up right. Not every client needs that, but I tell you what, I just mentioned a client that's been working with since July. I mean, some clients really need this. This could be great for you. So we'll figure out, put this in two pieces if we have to, and hopefully we can consolidate it to one. But first is just to get you guys set up and get you ready for the acquisition and enrolling students. And then if it has to be a second piece that's about your long-term maintenance and management, we can do that in two. We can do it in one. We'll go for that.
Yeah. Great.
Okay. IO pricing. Matthew, everything I've given you in the past, nothing's changed. So if you've shared that with Casey and Carlos, it's all good. The SOW is the same. This would fit under that statement of work. You have everything related to me.
So Cheryl's got to get with Amy, and then we'll go find out about that availability and pricing.
Can I follow up with one thing, Chris? Are you suggesting halftime? Is that what you're suggesting? I want to make sure that if all the planets aligned.
I'm gonna suggest that. Yes, I am.
Okay.
And for everyone on this call, if I have, and a lot of that's staffing and how quickly I can move. If I have the ability to deliver a full-time person for a couple of months or a month, and then we'll drop it down to halftime after that, I'll do that. But I'm recommending halftime for your budgeting, for your analysis, and that's what that'll get you there.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I would like, as you guys keep working through this, I don't know if Amy's going to be in a better, hopefully she is. I don't know what her situation is going to be, but please keep copying me, even if I can't make the meeting, Matthew. I will listen to the recordings. I need to see the documents. I want to understand what's going on here. I will continue working with Diana, with Cheryl, and we'll get our best solution to you from Anthology, whoever and wherever that might come from.
Okay. Thank you.
Casey's got the hard job. He's got to go talk to everyone now.
Exactly.
All right.
All right, and my Matt, you've got all my contact information. Casey, Carlos, we didn't get a chance to really talk, but if you guys, I may not give you I'll give you some different answers, some different thoughts, but if you want to chat through anything, call me, email me anytime.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Yeah,
right,
thanks,
guys.
guys.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good
Bye.
day.
Thanks.
Okay,
You guys
bye-bye.
too.
Right. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.